Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Whilton Mill in Northamptonshire. It's the final round of the 2018 Whilton Mill Kart Club Championships. Jake Sanson with you, trackside here at a very grey and muggy Whilton Mill in some places, but the good news is that there's no rain falling at this precise moment. We had some difficulties yesterday in practice and testing, of course, so that's going to be a bit of an interesting one if the drivers end up going offline at any point over the course of the day. There are some damp patches around the circuit. However, the good news is that for the moment, at least, there is no rain in the air, and everybody is giving themselves a really good run in the practice sessions. There is just one more practice session to run before we get underway with racing, which gives me plenty of opportunities to get us a bit of a build-up to the racing that we have today. We're going to start the day's action with Honda Cadet. The championship has been won by Theo Makuris by virtue of the fact that his closest championship opposition, Dan Ginchard, is now not racing in Honda Cadet this weekend. He's stepped up to X30 Junior. So Dan Ginchard is going to be working his way in that particular kart, in that particular category. So we'll be keeping an eye on his progress in his first ever race in X30 Junior. So good luck to Dan, and congratulations in the Honda Cadet title to Theo Makuris. Obviously, we're going to be moving on from Honda Cadet shortly after that. We have so many classes over the course of the day. After that will be the X30 Junior, which of course is a straight fight in the title between Caden McQueen and Axel Laflamme. There's quite a tight gap between the two of them. Only 35 points covers them, and when you consider that 36 points is the tally that you get for a heat win, it's still wide open with 4 races to go in the X30 Junior Whilton Mill Kart Club campaign. And so for Caden McQueen and Axel Laflamme, it really is a straight rivalry between the two and could be the closest fight we get today. After the X30 Juniors, we're obviously going to see some really intense battles again from Army Cadet. We always do, of course, and there is a 3-way fight for the title coming into this final weekend of the championship. Micah Taylor is currently the points leader on dropped scores with 11.45. Alfie Baxter Davies is a mere 17 behind him on 11.28, and then Josh Green is within touching distance, 43 points back. So it's still wide open between those 3 drivers in the title fight. We are going to see a really exciting battle between the 3 of them, and Army Cadet is going to be ridiculously close as the day plays out. X30 Mini is going to be an interesting one as well, because we've got a really big grid of drivers to battle with over the course of the day. Christian Brooks of the Evolution Motorsport team is within touching distance of wrapping up the Whilton Mill title, but obviously he's going to have the hard-charging Aaron Walker of Cato Motorsport hot on his heels throughout. He is mathematically within ability to get the title from him, as he is only 66 points back. And again, we've mentioned 36 points for a heat win, so if it's a bit of an awful weekend for Christian Brooks and a perfect one for Aaron Walker, the tide could still turn. So it is going to be a very interesting battle for Aaron to try and get himself closer onto the back of Christian Brooks. We should see some really exciting racing from them right from the start of the day. Then moving on into the Junior Max and Mini Max categories, well, both titles are going to be pretty much sealed within the first race. Obviously, we know for a fact that the Junior Max title is now going to change hands, because obviously it was James Lowther who was leading the championship coming into this weekend, and technically does still lead the points. But as you will have gathered, if you're a major fan of karting and you follow all the bits and pieces on social media, James Lowther is not here this weekend because he is racing under the Team GB banner representing Great Britain out in Brazil. So it's going to be really good to see James Lowther do well there, and we wish him all the very best, and hopefully that Union flag will fly on the top of the podium for him out in Brazil. What it does mean, though, of course, is that he basically has conceded and relinquished the Whilton Mill Kart Club Championship title to Tom Adams. Now, technically Adams is not ahead of him on the points, but all he has to do effectively is finish in the top 4 for most of the races today, and he will get the job done. He's 85 points back at this point in time. And it's not going to take him too long, if you can do your mathematics, it's not going to take him too long to overtake James Lowther's score. And all he has to do, effectively, is run reasonably well. He doesn't even need to be on the podium for the 4 races today to get the job done. All he needs to do is bring the kart home in relatively good stick and have fun out there, and he will effectively win the Whilton Mill Kart Club title. It's a relatively similar story in Minimax. There's only 4 of them in the category, but obviously there is still a title to win for Marcus Littlewood in the spirit of Senna Kart. He is on course to get that title done. He is a whopping 107 points, I believe it is, out in front of Tommy Edmonds. It's certainly a large total, even if my mathematics isn't quite up to scratch, which is probably likely considering the bacon sandwich hasn't kicked in yet. So it's going to be an interesting one to see how Marcus Littlewood gets the job done, and also when he gets the job done. And I think it is pretty much a case of that at the moment with well, let me do my math again very quickly. 1302 to 1191. I was incorrect. It's 119 points between the two of them, I believe. Either that or it's 109. I don't know. It's far too early in the morning. So we'll get it sorted anyway, one shape or another. It's looking good for Marcus Littlewood to get that job done. The last practice session just heading out on circuit now. So when that is completed, we'll be underway for racing, and we'll kick off the day, as we mentioned, with Honda Cadet. After the Junior Max and Minimax races, we have Junior TKM out there, and obviously they haven't run a full championship campaign this year, so Junior TKM is going to be very interesting to see how they get on. There's some good names in the field for Junior TKM for this one. We've got the likes of Archie Strong, we've got Charlie Flynn out there, Scott Smith, Arjus Diamantis, Dominic Roberts, Charlie Flynn, Reese Miller, Caden Morrison, Ben Cox, Jake Almasawi, and all sorts of great talent in that field means that we're going to be in for a really exciting race. There's Piers Pryor, who is on course to fight for the title in Senior X30. Now, that's the other big battle that's worth keeping an eye on today, because it is going to be very tight at the top. And there's 4 drivers, would you believe, 4 drivers in Senior X30 who can still win the title, which is pretty incredible. We've got Matt Armstrong, who leads the way for the Alico Racing team on 11:11. 3 points behind him, would you believe, is Piers Pryor. So it's really, really tight at the top of Senior X30. Had a quick word with Piers this morning. He is beaming from ear to ear, as he always does, and thinking pink, as always. He'll be absolutely on fire this afternoon. He really wants to give himself the best possible chance of winning the title. And then, of course, we've got the 2 Browns, who are 3rd and 4th in the points. Jordan Brown for the MLR team and Jensen Brown of Dan Holland Racing. They are 2 points behind each other. So 1084 for Jordan and 1082 for Jensen. Very close indeed between those two. But more importantly, they're only 24 points back from Piers Pryor. So it's literally a 4-way battle for the title. Any one of those 4 could still take it. So it's going to be really, really exciting. We'll have an amazing run from so many people over the course of the day. Morning, Cato. He's obviously up and early and watching his young charge, Aaron Walker. If you do have any particular messages to send over the course of the day to drivers, wishes of good luck, and obviously support from wherever you are, not just here in the UK, but around the world as well, wherever it is you might be, do please send it in. We've got comments coming in from the YouTube channel and, of course, from Whilton Mill's Facebook page. So do please get in touch with us. Like and subscribe, of course. Great racing all the way through the season. Kicking off all over again, of course, in January. It's not going to be too long before the new season gets started at Whilton Mill. It's only a matter of, well, 7 or 8 weeks away, so it's pretty incredible to think how fast the time has flown. Senior X30 pounding around at the moment, trying to get themselves up to speed. So we should have a really exciting run from the drivers up at the front end, and obviously it's going to be really exciting racing right from the off. So we should see some really exciting battles all the way through the course of proceedings. So some really exciting racing from Whilton Mill Kart Club to come. You can watch all the way through the season in 2019 as well, all the great work from Alpha Live Productions. And you can watch in full HD and uninterrupted all day on YouTube as well as on Facebook. And it's really exciting battles to come. To answer Austin Burns' question on YouTube, is this a race? This is just the practice session, the final practice before we go into racing itself. So don't worry. They're literally just out there for their 5-minute warm-up session, and then we will go racing. You can see that the track surface is a little bit greasy at the moment. Oh, we've had an off there in practice. Goodness me, I'm not sure who that is that's gone off into the barriers there at Crook. But hopefully that's not going to damage the karts too badly. Interestingly, we've got the likes of Matt Armstrong out there pretty much on his own. Jensen Brown and Piers Pryor are running around the circuit together. It's interesting to see. I was down in the pit lane a little bit earlier for the practice sessions looking at tyre choices for drivers going out. A lot of them were on the wets that they used yesterday. Some of them were trying to scrub in a new set of slicks. So a bit of a split decision there, because of course at Whilton Mill Kart Club you can run any tyres you wish. in the 5-minute practice session. So some deciding to go out on old slicks, some deciding to go out on brand spanking new ones to rubber them in, and others choosing to run old wets, basically, just to kind of get an idea of what the circuit is currently doing this morning. So great to see the different ideas of strategy, and always really, really intense battles. Oh, I will have to send this particular message in from James Lowther, who's, well, I'm not sure if you can see that, but he's basically put a teary emoji from all the way out in Brazil. He's very unhappy by the look of it, of not being able to wrap up his Whilton Mill Kart Club title, and concedes it to Tom Adams. But well done for getting to Brazil, James. We're all really proud of you, and I'm sure you'll fly the flag in great gusto out in Brazil. Good luck for today, mate. So there's going to be some really exciting race action from the Whilton Mill Kart Club. It's great to be back here once again. This has been a multiple journey to Whilton Mill this season for all sorts of different categories. I've been here several times for British mini bikes over the course of the year, also with the Untitled UK series on 2 occasions. And it's one of those circuits I do have an amazing amount of love for. Came here for Super 1 over the course of the year as well, but it's really good here for the Whilton Mill Kart Club. The thing I love about the club meetings in particular is that you really get to see where the next generation of talent is coming from. And there's always something really exciting about being able to see how that talent evolves and where it builds up and where it develops. Because all these drivers will have started, all the big names that you see coming up through karting, the likes of Dexter Patterson, Johnny Edgar, Harry Thompson, they all would have started at the clubbies. And it's always been a fascinating passion of mine to see where the next generation of talent is going to come from. So a day like this, it isn't just a job for me, it's child's play, just to be able to see who the new kids on the block are going to be, and who we're going to be talking about in 10 to 15 years' time as the next big thing in motorsport, never mind karting. So it's going to be really, really exciting to see. So let's see how the drivers are going to get underway then, because we've got the first race coming up, and it's going to be a really exciting battle in front of us. We've got a whole day of flat-out racing in front of us. Morgan Cole is watching along. Hello, Morgan. Good to see you, buddy. We're going to have some great racing from Whilton Mill Kart Club once again. As the practice sessions have drawn to a close, we're now getting ourselves ready for the heats. 7 minutes plus 1 lap for each of the categories, and it's going to be Honda Cadet that kicks us off. So we're going to have a really exciting battle in front of us. So let's talk you through the grid for the first of our Honda Cadets. It's going to be Joe Cheek and Henry Jocelyn, who's going to be there on the front row of the starting grid. And Tony Sofronio is going to be on the second row on the inside line, with alongside him Mitchell Gibbons in P4. Bradley Bick has done a fantastic job so far. He's up there in 5th position, along with Alfie Thompson, another hard charger we need to keep an eye on. Jaden Gregg is there beside Jack Stewart on the 4th row of the starting grid. And rounding out the top 10, it is going to be Theo Makuris, who of course has just sealed the title in the GP plate, and Oliver Stilp, who's going very well in the Stilp Hard Academy kart. Daniel Parran-Smith is there alongside Leo Brown on the 6th row of the starting grid. Watch for them trying to charge up through. Freddie Lloyd in kart number 40, younger brother of the European vice champion in Miami X30, Alex Lloyd. So Freddie Lloyd there in 13th alongside JJ Russell. Then Ethan Simmons, and in 16th position on the grid, it is going to be Aston Miller. So then we have Kian Berta and Reese Lomax, who are going to be in there next up. My apologies. In the 16th position, it is... I'll try and get that one right. My apologies. That is actually Aston McAndrew Uran. My apologies. Then it's Kian Berta and Reese Lomax. 19th position on the grid is going to be Spencer Brotham. And then it will be Morgan Hill rounding out the top 20. Hayden Elridge and Oscar Toyton will be on the 11th row of the grid. Zico Hopkins-Collis will line up beside Tommy Harfield. And then we'll have Charlie Mills beside Johan Calichurn. And the last few karts heading out onto the grid now. It'll be Harrison Morrow on 27th on the grid, along with Alfie Richards. And then we're going to have the last couple of karts coming through on the grid. Liam Dorman will be there on 29th position on the starting grid. Lots of support going through, and lots of people watching from all around the country and all over the world, of course. We've got... We've still got James Lowther watching over in Brazil. Good luck, Charlie Mills in Honda Cadets, number 47 from Claire Mills. First race after recovering from his broken arm. Yes, it'll be really good to see him back up to speed again, and I'm sure he's going to have a really good run. Starting, obviously, from 26th on the grid. He's one of the novices in this category. Oh, bit of a slip up there for the 83 of Alfie Richards. He'll get himself back up to speed pretty quickly, no doubt, as the field is getting themselves back up to speed once again. But we're going to get to see some really cracking race action. Love watching these club meetings. Don't get to go to as many of them as I like to. And it's really good to see what the Whilton Mill Karting Club has put on. The new building, obviously, beside the circuit. The last time I was here, the building that was still right adjacent to the start-finish line was there, and now it's gone. It's very strange walking over there now with no building there. You can see it yourself on the screen now as the Honda Cadets will line up and take up their resident positions on the starting grid. Look at the fantastic new facilities that we've got. It's all very well heated in there. It genuinely looks like one of the top facilities in the country now in that building inside. I urge you to get down here the next opportunity you can if you're not here trackside. We're getting ourselves ready for the action. Joe Cheek. And then obviously in the mix there, we've got the likes of the top drivers in with him. Revs rising, lights on, and we're out racing. Cracking start at the front. Oh, no start at all for the 57. That's a real problem, unfortunately, in the mix there for Jack Stewart. He's had all sorts of problems. We've got a spin there as well for the 50 of Tommy Harfield. But as they come up the hill once again, through towards Manuel's Bank, this is going to be the 72 out in front, leading away. Joe Cheek into Christmas Corner for the first time as they all squabble in together. It's a fairly clean start to the day. No problems at all in Christmas as they all turn up towards the hairpin at Ashby. And round the outside for the lead, trying to hang on to it is Cheek, but that's a lovely move on the inside for Mitchell Gibbons as he's going to take up residency. We've got somebody off on the inside. That's Jack Stewart with the kart broken down. Oh, and off goes Gibbons. A couple of drivers going wide. The 24 goes wide as well. That is a big slip up there, unfortunately, running wide for Alfie Thompson. And into the barriers goes the 72 of Joe Cheek. From first to last, absolutely unbelievable. So Gibbons, unfortunately, going down the order. Yellow flags are out on the start-finish straight, of course. What a disaster for Mitchell Gibbons, for Joe Cheek. That was a really difficult lap for Joe. So a big problem there, unfortunately, for the 72 of Joe Cheek. A real problem for him, but it's Gibbons who leads the way now from Sofronio, Jaden Gregg, Dan Parent-Smith, Simmons, Russell, McCouris, Berta, Stilt, Brown and Toyton with Reese Lomax in 12th position up the inside. That's a lovely move there from the 23 of Ethan Simmons to get himself up another position, and he's fighting hard there with Dan Parent-Smith for 4th position. So a good move there from Simmons, and that's McCouris diving up the inside. Sweet move on JJ Russell. Russell's going to try and hang on, but goes off onto the grass as Nakamura Berta gets on the inside as well. Great power sliding there from the 84 to recover. JJ Russell would work well in a rallycross if that's the way he's going to be continuing his moves. So some big difficulties for a few of the drivers out there, but Mitchell Gibbons leading the way at the moment. Big dive up the inside of Sofronio. Oh, that's lovely from Dan Parent-Smith. Dan Parent-Smith then into 4th position as Sofronio drops to 5th. It could be 6th if he's not careful because Theo McCouris is right underneath him. But out in front of the race at the moment, it is Sofronio, we think, who's leading. A bit of an issue with the timing screen updating. But Reese Lomax has come up through the field pretty nicely. Now up into 2nd position. Here comes McCouris on the inside of Sofronio. So there is Sofronio. He's not leading the race as we first thought. But Sofronio is there in 6th position in the 77 now, having been overtaken by Theo McCouris up at the front end. I'm fairly sure that is still Mitchell Gibbons who leads the way then in the 71. So we'll double check as they come through. It was Joe Cheek who went off, I think, on the first lap. Oh, and a big moment there for Sofronio, bouncing around on the grass. Goodness me, and that's allowed Kian Berta to get through. So Kian Berta, the Japanese sensation, making his way through. There's a couple of Japanese guys on the grids today as well, of course, because we have the Japanese sensation in Ayami Cadet a little bit later on, Ryotaro Sakai, so we'll keep an eye on him. And over the line to lead, no problem at all for the 71 out in front of Mitchell Gibbons, who leads the way for the time being. Something is wrong with my timing screen. I'm not entirely sure what it is. They're not quite updating to the right order. So for some reason, the timing is not quite correct. Kian Berta given a warning for contact. We think there is a general timing issue, so we'll try and get it updated as soon as possible. As I move up the inside, that is Dan Parent-Smith again making a bold move there on Jaden Gregg into Ashby and gets the move done nicely. But Gregg is not giving up. He's going to fight straight back onto the tail of Parent-Smith. Looking really good as they come up towards Osiers and then back down the back straight. So at the moment, the 23 just at the front of this little queue. That is a good run from Ethan Simmons so far. Jaden Gregg battling away with Theo McCouris, trying to hold him off because McCouris is going to come onto the inside line of the hairpin and makes his move. Very nicely done there from McCouris. So Theo McCouris getting through and making the move stick nicely. That's up into 4th position. In front of him, Dan Parent-Smith is now 3rd. Then it is the 23 in 2nd position just in front of them. Yeah, general timing issues, unfortunately. Don't pay too much attention to what we see in front of us. I'm just watching the on-track battles as we go. 71, Mitchell Gibbons having a nice little scrap now with our new race leader, Ethan Simmons. Simmons has fought his way through into the lead of the race, and Nakamura Berta trying to make his way up the inside of Jaden Gregg, but it's Simmons who leads. Gibbons in second, Parent Smith in third as they go through the left-hander now, up towards Wilkins and then on towards Oziers. So they drop down and then onto the back straight once again. Simmons hanging on in front of Gibbons. Third position, Dan Parent Smith working his magic down the back straight. Mercouris desperately trying to catch them up the inside line for the boot. Not quite going to get there, but Parent Smith is going to get the move on Gibbons. Gibbons is going to try and get the switch back to the inside line. Gets the place into second place once again through the toe of the boot. Lovely job. So across the line once again, 23, Ethan Simmons leads the way here. Second position, Gibbons going well. Third, Darren Parent Smith, but watch out. Here comes the GP plate, Mercouris with Nakamura Berta in tow. Parent Smith is going to go for the move on Gibbons. He hasn't got much of a chance really to hold him off, and he's going to get through. Parent Smith through into second place. Mercouris trying to fend off Nakamura Berta at the same time as trying to attack Gibbons. So here comes the move from Mercouris, not quite yet. He's going to have to wait for his moment, but this is giving Simmons a lovely bit of clearance as Nakamura Berta squeezes Mercouris, trying to come around the outside at Ashby, and now ducks for the inside of Oziers. He's going to go late and up the inside. Gibbons gets back past Dan Parent Smith. Very nice work with these two. Brilliant racing in the top six. Simmons leading, Gibbons second, third Parent Smith, fourth for Mercouris, fifth for Nakamura Berta, and sixth for Jaden Gregg. They come up the toe of the boots, and now down into the heel. Final turn, pit bend, and on to the main start-finish straight once again. 1 minute and 17 plus change on the clock. Really exciting stuff. Great battle all the way through. Great to see such an amazing race to start us off with. Ethan Simmons watching very well out in the front of the field, just checking over his shoulder occasionally to see how the famous five behind him are going to push on towards the front end of the field again. Dan Parent Smith needing to work a little bit more closely with Gibbons to fend off any domination from Ethan Simmons, but Mercouris, Nakamura Berta and Jaden Gregg are still right in there for an opportunity to move up as well, and they're not going to want to play too much second fiddle. Parent Smith up the inside of Gibbons, not going to happen. He's got to hang back. As they get onto the back straight once again, Parent Smith, a quick check over his right shoulder. Mercouris now going to go for the move into the boot. It's going to be very forceful, but he's going to make the place. A little bit of jostling. Nakamura Berta trying to come around the outside to move up into fourth position, but Dan Parent Smith has to yield it anyway. And now Jaden Gregg may get a chance to move up into fifth position as they come through. 20 seconds plus the lap to go. So this is penultimate lap time for the boys out in front. Mercouris trying to close up on Gibbons. It looks to me as though Ethan Simmons has got enough in his pocket to settle for a first race victory of the day. But this is going to be very tight as they work their way through. Out in the lead, still the 23. Here comes Mercouris going for a big dive on the inside for second position in the penultimate lap. Nakamura Berta gets through as well. Dan Parent Smith gets through as well. Jaden Gregg's not done yet. He might come around the outside of Ashby to get into fifth. Not quite able to, but it's Mercouris, Nakamura Berta and Dan Parent Smith who are now fighting it out for second position. In behind our race leader, Ethan Simmons. Simmons still going full guns out in front, but Mercouris, Nakamura Berta and in fourth position, Dan Parent Smith, all having a great squabble. They come up doing a fantastic job. A really good battle so far. But into the last lap we go. Last lap board comes out. And still a great battle in the top six as the drivers are wrestling away for position. Oh, a bit of a twitch from Nakamura Berta as he nudges the back of Mercouris, and that's enough for Dan Parent Smith to have a charge. He's going to work with Nakamura Berta. Mercouris defends. Nakamura Berta goes for broke into Christmas. And Dan Parent Smith now cuts into the inside. He gets third. Good move from these two. Mercouris is now going to have a challenge from Gibbons into Ashby. But Nakamura Berta swarming around all over the place to stop Dan Parent Smith coming through. Gibbons on the inside now gets the place from Theo Mercouris, who hops over the grass. Now Dan Parent Smith tucks back in behind Nakamura Berta in the hope he can grab second somewhere else around the lap. Ethan Simmons is grinning from ear to ear out front. He's had no challenge at all these last 4 laps, and he's going to take the heat win, no problem. But who's going to bag second? Up to the toe of the boot for the last time. It's all academic, though, because the man out front, Ethan Simmons, has got this one in the bag. Over the start-finish line he will come. Ethan Simmons takes the first win of the day, and he's absolutely elated with it. Nakamura Berta second. Great job there. Third position. Just about hanging on. Dan Parent Smith in front of Theo Mercouris, Mitchell Gibbons, and then in 6th place, Jaden Gregg. A really exciting run. Timing issues mean we won't get a confirmation, an update of the race result just yet. But what a fantastic result that is for Ethan Simmons. Really got himself into good space at exactly the right moment and set about disappearing from the rest of the fray. Really good work from Ethan Simmons in that one. and he'll be absolutely delighted. The one retirement, as far as I can tell, and that, unfortunately, was Jack Stewart. All sorts of problems with our timing beacon, unfortunately. We'll get that sorted as soon as possible. So we'll be able to get the drivers as they come through next time about. But Ethan Simmons is very, very happy indeed with his lot, having come through to take the victory. A really good effort from Ethan and a really, really good race there. Good job as well from Nakamura Berta to fend off Dan Parent-Smith for second position on the last lap. So a really, really good job. So Ethan Simmons just making sure he's okay. And he's absolutely elated. No problem at all. Nakamura Berta second, Dan Parent-Smith in third position. And then Theo Makuris ended up behind Mitchell Gibbons in the end. So I wonder if that's the order. Is that the order they finished or the order they've just come into the pits? That's the only difficulty with having a slight discrepancy with the timing. But we'll get on top of that a little bit later on, no doubt. Some great performances there in the field. Some good battles all the way through. But some predominantly really, really good driving and some very clean racing yet again from the Honda Cadets. Really good to see that they've started the day exactly as we meant to go on. I know that obviously we had some good conversations earlier in the day from Charlie. From Jamie, my apologies. Jamie Rowe was chatting to everybody in the Parc Ferme area, just making sure everybody is keeping themselves up to scratch, and they've done a very good job so far. X30 Junior next up. Some good names in the field for this one, and there's a few new faces as well as they prepare for their 2019 season campaigns. But obviously the title fight is going to be the main focus, which is Axel Laflamme versus Caden McQueen. The battle between them is just 25 points. So it's, 35 points, my apologies, but 36 points for a heat win means that this is still wide open between these two for the title. So we're going to get to see some really exciting battles between these two. And lots of other drivers in the field, of course, the likes of Alex Lay in the DJ Performance squad. Alex Lay, of course, with the backing from Trade Price Cars Racing Team, which, of course, is racing in the British Touring Cars next year. Got all sorts of big names. BMR, of course, who race in the Touring Cars as well. Drivers representing Coles Racing, Dan Holland Racing, Litchfield Motorsport, Gato Motorsport, Ambition, MLC, all sorts of big teams here, and it's great to see the talent. Let's have a look at the grid. Scott Sumpton is on pole position, along with Axel Laflamme, who's right on the front row, from Kyle Dunford and Tom Leben. Then we have Oliver Behrman and Lorenzo Cordell, who are together on the third row of the starting grid. And on row 4, it is going to be Bowen Kent, my apologies. Bowen Kent is going to be there on 7th position on the grid, alongside Josh Rowledge, who makes his comeback after his recent absence. It's good to see him back in the game again. And Ivan Lomliev will line up in 9th position on the grid, alongside James Laby to round out the top 10. Then comes young Alex Lay, along with Jerome Phillip. And they're going to be together on row 6 of the starting grid with Joshua Torpy and Vishal Patel. So they will continue round. 2 rolling laps, by the way, of the circuit, from what we can tell. And that is because of the track conditions that we've got out on the circuit. It's still a little bit greasy. So they will go round again. 13 and 14 on the grid, Josh Torpy and Vishal Patel, as we mentioned. Collie Atkins is there in 15th position. Carly Atkins, along with Ollie Pilker, the Polish driver who's come over from the International Brigade to come out and race here. Caden McQueen is there in 17th position, so a bit of a comeback from him is expected, along with Sam Hawthorne, who's in 18th place. Then Alicia Barrett, who's alongside Ben Ward on the grid, along with Dan Ginchard, who is the runner-up in the National Championships for Honda Cadet this year, and obviously here at Whilton Mill Kart Club as well. Max Meir in 22nd from Alfie Moore and Thomas Mills, Jensen Watts and Casper Scusa, and then the last few in the mix there as well. Mason Reeve is 27th on the grid, along with Alexander Johnston, who will be there in 28th position on the starting grid. So the drivers in position at the front end of the field. It's going to be a really exciting battle to see if Scott Sumpton on the Ambition kart can hang on in front of Axel Laflamme, who is really fired up here. He knows that 35 points back from Caden McQueen is definitely changeable today. If he can score 36 more points than him today, he will be the Whilton Mill Kart Club champion. So let's see what happens as they charge their way forward. It's time to go racing once again. Here we go. It's a false start. So they are going to have to go around again. The tension and the drama is already pretty sky high for this one, so the fact that they're going to have to go around again just keeps things very interesting. Well, there's a lot of great talent in this field, obviously, in X30 Junior. False start is declared, so they're going to have to do so again, unfortunately. But you can see from the track conditions that there's, it's still very greasy out there. It's kind of that fine line between wet and dry now after all the rain we had yesterday. So they're going to have to work very hard out there to make sure that everybody is going to be okay. So now the field is lined back up in position again. Sumpton at the front of the field. Axel Laflamme alongside him. We'll keep an eye on the third position man off the grid as well, Kyle Dunford, who is there just in second position alongside the 34 of Tom Leben for the BMR squad from Bury St Edmunds. Not far away from where I grew up, of course. Up towards the toe of the boot. And Sumpton and Laflamme are going to need to get a perfect getaway here because there's so much great talent on the couple of rows of the grid behind them. Keep an eye for Oliver Behrman in there in fifth position on the starting grid, and Lorenzo Cordell on the Mad Crop. They're going to be fast starters. Here we go. Is it going to be a clean start this time? Yes, it is, and away we go. A fantastic getaway from Sumpton. He's going to cut across, but Axel Laflamme's got a faster start. So Axel Laflamme has got into the lead early, and that's Tom Leben through into third position. Behrman through into fourth as well. So a really good start from the drivers on the second and third rows, and up to second place comes Leben already, and that's a spin. A big problem. 2 or 3 karts have gone there. Unfortunately, that is the 40 that's gone around. That is Alexander Johnston. Oh, we got another one that's gone off at Inkermans. Right out the back. 2 or 3 of them have gone. So we've got a couple of karts in the mix there. Looks as though Johnston's